Hey everybody, TanManhizzle here. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Chivalry II, of course developed by Banner Studios and published by Tripwire Interactive. Firstly, I should say that I loved the first Chivalry. I'm also a fan of Mordhau, so this game and these kind of games are right up my alley. Okay, I love these games. So I felt like I should get that out of the way first and foremost. I got access to the closed beta because it was sort of a giveaway. It was kind of a first come first served basis. I saw on Twitter that this company was giving away 500 keys, and it was first come first serve. And I found the tweet within like an hour of them posting it, and they only had like 2 retweets. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it. So I got it from that. I have not pre-ordered it, so I felt like I should just mention that right off the bat. I didn't pre-order it, but I'm a big fan of the franchise. I'm a big fan of Tripwire Interactive as a whole, and since I am a fan of the first one, I do like what Banner Studios has done. But I'm just gonna start this. I do have some notes written down. I have notes for both combat and the maps. So I didn't get a lot of footage of this game due to storage. I only recorded a few minutes, so if I have to loop the footage, I'm sorry, but that's just going to be how it is. Game time. For the actual game, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. If Tripwire Interactive didn't make the Epic deal for all of their games to have a year-long exclusivity deal on Epic Game Store, I probably would buy this day one. The problem is, I don't enjoy Epic storefront. I'd rather spend my money on Valve. I'd rather Valve get a cut of the purchase from me. That's just consumer practices that I enjoy. I prefer Valve, and I like Steam. So is this game gonna last long enough for it to be on Steam and be popular on Steam? I don't know, but I just wish that they hadn't made that deal. But I did find myself getting a little bored with it maybe an hour or 2 hours in, and that is due to the fact that there's only 2 maps per game mode for the closed beta, and it was just kind of boring. But and the last day that I played, I did go to mixed objective, and that changed it up a little bit. That made it a variety, so I wasn't stuck only playing the 2 maps where you had to do this and then do that and then do this. And I also, for some reason, I don't know if this was just because my luck or what, but I found myself playing Mason so much more. And I don't know if that has to do with you choosing a faction at the end of the tutorial, but I just found myself playing Mason so much more. And if that is why, then now I understand. But they never actually clarified that, because in the original, it doesn't matter. You can choose one or the other, but it doesn't matter. The game's going to put you where there's an open space, period. So it didn't matter whether you chose Mason or Agatha. But I played so much more Mason. So I rarely got the Agatha side. Rarely. And again, I don't know if that's just maybe a closed beta thing, or if that's because I chose Mason as my faction at the tutorial or what, but that's just how it was. So that's just basically my general notes on it. I guess for actual gameplay, we should look at combat first, because that's the most important aspect of this game, obviously. Along with combat, hit registration. Now, hit registration, wow, they need to do some work. If this game's going to release in June like they say it is, it definitely needs some work. Shields, no matter what type of shield, if you're holding up a shield in the block position, you cannot have your feet shot from right in front of you. I saw my arrow go through his legs. Just things like that. They also, if someone was blocking with, let's say, a halberd in front of them, and they were blocking, you could not hit them from either side or the back. The back, sometimes. The sides, never. I could never get a good side hit from someone who was blocking with a halberd in front of them. And it was visually clear that it was indeed in front of them, and they weren't holding off like a block to the side. Like, I don't know if you can actually block to the side. Like, you look at a game like Mountain Blade, you can actually visually tell they're holding their block to either side of their body, right? And then up or down a little bit. With this, I'm not sure if it actually is directional, visually directional, but I do know that blocks are generally in front in that game. So I basically just answered my own question, right? But you couldn't hit a side for some reason. You would just, if you would swing and you hit their side, no luck. Like, you would think you would have damage, arm damage, or maybe even like minimal torso damage, but no, nope, none of that. The back damage, yeah, you would think you, and this is for swings, might I add. This is for swings only. No stabs, no overheads, just swings, okay? That I noticed this, right? So backs only was sometimes. It wasn't every time, but sides was every time. I also noticed that weapon swings would go too far, so you could actually see the momentum. So let's say someone was holding their weapon and they just did a normal mouse 1 click. That is going from their right side of their body, swinging towards their left side. And then when momentum would pick back up to reset the weapon, you could see that momentum change. Sometimes when that momentum change was happening, you would still get hit with the weapon. Now that, frankly, is unfair, especially with longer weapons, such as the halberd or the glaive, which a lot of people were actually using the glaive because of its length and its speed, as a matter of fact. But I never used it, so I can't really talk about that personally. I also noticed, this is all basically hit registration. Arrows would go through the face. I didn't get a clip of this, again, due to storage issues, but I would visually see my arrow path go through somebody's face and it not count. Same thing with legs. Maybe that's due to them, running or possibly getting in a fighting stance, or in the middle of their swing, their legs shift. Legs can be explained. Head, when you see it visually go through someone's forehead and it doesn't actually hit, that's an issue. That is a hit registration issue. So they need to do something to fix that. I also noticed several times when I would kill somebody with an arrow, you would actually see that arrow like above their shoulder. Now, I don't know if that's due to maybe a latency issue or maybe a desynchronization issue or what that is, but if arrows are hitting above a hitbox or to the side of a hitbox is too big. That hitbox is unrealistic for a game like this. I noticed it also above a shield. I once shot somebody's shield and I noticed my arrow was above their shield. Like, it wasn't touching the shield, but it was stuck in place above it. So my question is, if he's blocking with his shield and it went above his shield, shouldn't it have hit his head? I don't know. That's kind of my question. All of that was hit registration. One thing about combat that isn't hit registration that I noticed, besides balancing of weapons, I kind of mentioned the glaive earlier. Some weapons do need to be balanced. Some weapons' speed doesn't really match the heaviness of a weapon that it would be. I mean, you gotta think, these weapons are wood and steel. Knights practice this, bowmen practice this, so they do have experience, but nobody should be swinging a freaking battle axe at like Mach 3 speed, dude. It just doesn't work. I'm just using the battle axe as an example. I didn't see anything wrong with the double-sided battle axe personally, but there are some weapons that do need to be balanced. Weapons that I didn't get to try, weapons that I did try, but I noticed were stronger when not in my hands, which is a personal complaint, of course, but no, honestly, like, there does need to be some weapon balancing issues. That was kind of a joke that I suck, by the way. One thing that isn't due to balancing or hit registration, the special ability of an oil pot, okay? The oil pot, in my opinion, should be thrown as soon as you press the special item key, much like the bandages. The bandage, as soon as you hit that keybind for the special item, it's thrown. The oil pot, no. The oil pot, you pick up your secondary, you put away your primary, you pick up your secondary, and then it's ready in your hand to throw. So then you have to reach over and press your throw key, which, if you want to throw it in a moment's notice, say someone's charging right at you, and you just want to light them on fire before you mess them up, right? You have to do 1, 2, 3 steps before you can throw that, where if you're going to heal someone in the midst of battle, it's one button. Now, they probably did this for balancing issues as well. They were like, well, we don't want people throwing oil pots all willy-nilly like, and making sure that there's some time to recognize that someone has an oil pot in their hand. No. If every special item minus the banner is able to be used right away, so should the oil pot. The banner, I totally understand. You want to put that in the most strategic and tactical place possible in order to heal your team. I get it. The Warhorn, automatic. The Brazier is another placement. Again, you want to do it where someone can't just hit it and break it. You want to do it where you're safe and secure. I get it. The oil pot, you're not throwing it well, you might be throwing it strategically, but guess what? It's to try and cause the most damage to the enemy. So you want to have it done immediately. The bandage, you want to heal your people immediately, right? So it's boom. You press that special item button, boom, bandage, baby. The oil pot should be the same way, in my opinion, okay? Maps. Generally speaking, I think it would be really sick to be able to do two things, okay? One, it would be really cool for the defending team to be able to attack the siege equipment. Now, if that means attacking the wheels or attacking the sides of it where the wood is maybe weaker and just taking away hit points, and then maybe for the battering ram, for example, on the Siege of Rudhelm, maybe the battering ram gets weaker because people are smashing, so the process of actually breaking down the doors with the battering ram takes a lot longer. Same thing with the siege tower, okay? If you're on the defensive side, maybe you should be able to attack the wheels. So if a wheel breaks off or you smash a wheel, then it's much slower to progress the tower. Now, should all, 6 wheels be able to be taken out? No. But should you be able to cause damage to delay the advance? Yes, in my opinion. Another thing that I think would be really cool, you also see this with Mountain Blade Bannerlord, where actual AI, which in the case of Chivalry II, it would obviously be real people, actually get to push the siege engines. So I know in Chivalry II and Chivalry, what you do is you actually just kind of are in the vicinity, and it counts as like a area of effect where the more people there are, it goes, right? So if there's one person, it goes. If it's contested, it obviously stops. If there's nobody there on the advancing team, obviously nothing happens, right? Well, what if it's a boost to speed if there's people both in the vicinity and pushing? Plus, it would make it a little bit more tactical for people to say, hey, how about you guys guard the right side, but we'll push on the right side, right? So now you're getting extra speed and you're getting better team play because the side of the siege tower is better protected. Or if it's a 32v32 lobby, you get 16 people to push a siege engine, and you get 16 people. Well, it would be like 6 people pushing it, and you get 10 people guarding one, and then the same thing on the opposite side, 6 people pushing it, 10 people guarding. That's 16, 16, 32, 32, right? The 16 people on the defensive team can come to one siege tower. The 16 people on the other siege tower can have a defense against the other 16 on the defensive side, right? So it would add team gameplay. It would add a sense of rushing, because you're like, okay, the faster we do this, the better we push. Guess what? The more time we have for the next objective, right? So it would introduce all these things. In my opinion, that would be really cool. Development-wise, I don't know how they would do any of that. I'm not an expert on that, so I don't know. This is just my opinion, right? Specific map fixes, they just need to fix balancing. For the 2 we got, the team deathmatches were fine. There was no problems with the team deathmatches. As I was looking through all my clips, I also didn't find that big of a balancing issue with the Siege of Rudhelm. I did get to the final objective twice as Mason, so our last line of defense, of course, it didn't go so well on both tries. Well, the first time the king was actually stuck, so it was bugged out. The guy playing him like legitimately couldn't move for like 3 minutes, so he was instantly killed. It didn't go well for both of us, but I felt like the fight was really good. The fight that we had was really good. So I didn't really see a balancing issue with the Siege of Rudhelm. However, the Fall of Lion Spire, my god, that bridge, the bridge, it is almost impossible for the Mason to pass through. The Agatha defense is so good right there. And if you can organize a shield wall with just archers from the 2 towers, the wall, the castle wall, plus the little elevated portion before the gate on the Fall of Lion's Fire, my goodness, Mason will not stand a chance. It'll be a 5-minute battle of just pure death for the Mason order. It is super unbalanced. I don't know what they can do different. Maybe have some way, have like a side, like maybe have like a little like ladder or something, or like, I mean, if you look below that map on the bridge section, you can actually see land. So there is a river that runs through it, because it leads to the ocean, you know, if you're coming up the bridge, on the right is an ocean, on the left I believe is also another ocean, or part of an ocean. So there's a little levee under there. If you could get like, you could climb people down there, cross the little levee river thing, and climb back up, or even maybe there's like maybe a secret staircase of some sort. I don't know. I do not know how they would fix it, but I do know that realistically it is unbalanced. It really is. At least from the Mason side, it is. I'm sure all the Agathans who were just killing every Mason order person they saw was loving it. But as someone who mostly played Mason, it's unbalanced. It really is. I did see in chat a few Agathans complaining about it. So just from that very anecdotal perspective, it is unbalanced. That's pretty much all I have to say about the game. I did really enjoy it. Hopefully they'll have an open beta, since it is still a month and a few days away from release. At least they say. Games being delayed left and right these days, I don't actually know. I don't know if the first Shiv ever got delayed or anything like that, but with the current era of gaming and a lot of stuff being delayed, especially due to the pandemic, and developers are still working at home, so I don't know if it's going to be delayed, but it's supposed to release in June, I believe. So there's still a long time. There's still a month and a few days away at the time of recording this. So anything can happen, but balancing issues and hit registration, to me, are the biggest things that they need to fix. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon. Peace.